Ready? Okay.
I think that, some of the most successful people have great stories of how they gained confidence. And confidence is often a child that is born out of resilience and trauma and difficulties.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Day.
And I am Anna Cantu.
And you are watching
EmpowHER.
And this is a podcast designed to empower and inspire high-achieving women through powerful conversations on home, mindset, and business so that you can live fully, lead boldly, and create a life that feels just as good as it looks.
And today we have the none other Corey Insalaco, CEO of Women Shares. We're so excited that you're here today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Now, Corey, you have been in the wealth management space for since 2001?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
And you have managed multi-million-dollar portfolios for several Fortune 500 companies.
Yes.
And, today is really a story about you as a female entrepreneur who really had to overcome quite a bit of adversity to be able to lead and inspire people in business and in life.
So we want to know more. So tell us your backstory and how you found purpose in your work.
Sure. So, well, first off, thank you both for having me. I'm excited to have this platform to connect with so many women and inspire so many women out there. My backstory, I started in the securities investment industry in 2001. I was fresh out of college. There was 120 new advisors at the Fortune 500 firm that I went to go work for, very recognizable firm. And out of 120 new advisors, 10 were women, and I was the youngest one. I actually roomed with a woman who was in her 40s, who was a career changer at the time. And it was really inspirational to learn from her wisdom, because there was like a 20-year gap between us. So being in the position of being a practicing financial advisor and then later becoming a wealth management consultant, I noticed that there was a gap between men and women, particularly in the area of financial literacy when it came to some of my female clients and women that I was connecting with in social networking groups, via the Chamber, Women's Club, business networking groups, philanthropy. And I thought, wow, there really is something that needs to be carved out for women to have a place where they can go, receive education, receive empowerment, and also learn strategies on how to become financially independent, if they're going through, a legal separation, a divorce, or they're just a very successful up-and-coming young professional and they want to be educated on what tips and strategies they can use to navigate and become, more financially savvy in building their empire. And I came up with the idea of Women's Shares over 10 years ago. It was around 2015. My daughter Haley was born in 2015. And at the time, I was covering the entire state of Virginia. I had 5 advisory arms of one firm that I was covering. So I was pretty well, entrenched and expansive in my current career. And then I just become a new mom. My husband at the time, Haley's father, was a successful military commander and was in a position where he was approaching retirement and he wanted to further his transition to civilian career. So he was looking to pursue his executive MBA, which was going to be a 2.5-year program. And it was going to require me to kind of lower the intensity of which I was pursuing my career, but also kind of dial down and eventually back shelf my idea for my entrepreneur vision with Women's Shares. So I had to put that on the back burner because I had to step up and really, be the main parent for our daughter And at the same time, I also was the primary breadwinner. So I had to make sure that I was keeping, my career and revenue up to where it needed to be to support the family, but also support him and his, career, and then ultimately support our daughter. So I did that. And then after he finished his MBA program, we moved to Texas to be closer to family. And shortly after we moved to Texas, we built a home from a dirt start. One of the things that not too many people know about me is I actually went through 2.5 years of fertility. So I had a fertility journey to give Haley a sibling and to have, a second child, which we have now. His name is Barrett. And that was tough, right? Because I was still working as a wealth management consultant now here in Texas. And also, really trying to achieve the dream of giving Haley a sibling. And fortunately, that worked out, and Barrett came into this world. But the, transition from Virginia to Texas and everything else in between, the marriage was just not a healthy marriage, and it wasn't conducive to my health, mentally and physically, remaining in the home. And things just kind of, brewed a perfect storm. And in October, November of 2020, I found myself not only in the middle of a pandemic, but I also had to find a way to better myself, which meant I needed to get out of the house that I was in. I needed to escape the home. I also needed to put in a plan for the children. And at the same time, lots of changes were going on in corporate America, right? There was a lot of layoffs, a lot of restructuring. And so the divorce began. And a month into the divorce, I ended up losing my job. The company that I was working for, a very large, well-recognized firm, decided that they were going to close my division, and 68 employees were furloughed. I was one of them. Fortunately, I had a small severance package because I'd been with the firm, long enough. But keep in mind, I was now right at the beginning of a divorce that was going to go into family court in Texas. And I knew at that point in time that I was going to have to hire an attorney, and that the attorney was not going to be inexpensive, right? So I also knew that I had to find myself another residence because I could not stay in the residence that I was in. And so I really had to develop strategies around, okay, how do I take the finances that I have and maximize the potential across all these needs? These were not wants, they were needs. And so I did that, and ended up relocating to an apartment. Haley at the time was getting ready to start first grade. And Barrett, was about 10 months.
Still a baby.
So yeah, he was still a baby. And so I did all of that. And I didn't move into a really luxurious apartment. I moved into one that made sense for the children. I wanted to make sure that Haley had a separate bedroom because she was going to be getting up early in the morning and getting ready for school. And her brother was going to be beginning the stages of teething. And so for her to be able to get a good night's sleep before she was starting school was very important to me. So I made that apartment my home, our home. And during those first 3 months in the apartment, I began studying for another securities license because I knew if I could, again, better and improve my education, which was already really, stable and successful, that it would put me in a better position to stand on my own 2 feet. So
that's such a powerful story. I mean, I'm sure a lot of women are going through this. And they can resonate with you, and it's the challenges that make you who you are now, I'm sure.
Sure. I think that some of the most successful people have great stories of how they gained confidence. And confidence is often a child that is born out of resilience and trauma and difficulties. And I know for certain that I was confident in my career as a professional businesswoman. I was confident in life and my friendships, but having, navigated the difficulties and the areas where I've triumphed and my knowledge now, there definitely was a reason why divine intervention said, no, not right now, 10 years ago for women's shares, but then fast forward to 2023, now is the time. So.
Yeah, you had to go through what you had to go through in order to develop your strategies, which makes perfect sense that now that's what you're actually empowering women with now.
Yes,
that
absolutely.
are going through similar situations.
Yes, 100%.
Amazing. So, what belief about yourself and your journey did you have to unlearn in order to grow into who you are today?
So, there's several beliefs that I had to unlearn or just really kind of go deep within myself and my mindset and ask myself, do I really resonate with these beliefs now where I am and what I've navigated? And I can't say enough about the power of reading and also just really going within, and then, my faith. I mean, I'm very strong in my faith. But the number one belief that stands out to me is let go, is just release. And most of the women that I've worked with over the years, I've noticed, not only, within myself, but also, externally, that we tend to want to try and be the yes woman to everybody and to everything. We
don't resonate with that at all.
We consistently feel like we are not enough if we don't go over and beyond what our mental capacity is, what our physical capacity is, and just give and give and give. And I tend to find that, we pour into so many people's cups, and, our children, our spouse, our philanthropy, philanthropic interest, our social interest.
Clients,
yes, absolutely. I mean, we pour into all these cups, and then, we find ourselves depreciative, right? Depleted.
Yeah.
We're depreciating ourselves. And so, it's again, I know everyone likes to talk about balance, right? And balancing. I don't really think, it's so much as balance, because I always think that you're going to have scales, right? And one scale is going to be elevated above another. And then vice versa. So I don't really think it's about balance. What I think it's more about is awareness and really doing a self-audit and asking yourself, okay, is this group of friends that I'm associating with giving back to me what I'm giving to them? Is this career giving back to me what I'm giving to it?
That's powerful.
And just really, really doing a deep dive there. Even your spouse, right? Yeah. Looking at your marriage, looking at your relationship and saying, is this person showing up for me in the way that I'm showing up for them?
That's huge, because I don't think many people actually put that into practice for themselves. Right?
Right.
It's like the less that they receive, a lot of times the harder they give, right?
Yeah.
The harder that they show up for others. And so self-love in that way is really big, because a lot of times, self-love is the last kind of love
Did you give yourself?
that you, exactly.
Yeah.
So that is a big point.
Yeah. And I think, to that point, speaking on, self-love, I found myself in the moments when we moved into a possession schedule, right, with the children. And I've worked with women, through this too. Like when you move from 100% of the time, your children are laying their heads on a pillow that's in your home, right? And every single night, your children are under your roof. And then all of a sudden, they're not. And they're still young, right? They're not out of the home. They're not self-reliant yet, right? They're still very dependent. And so how do you really go inside within yourself and that mindset that wants to make you feel sad or guilty that your children are now, not under your roof, or you don't have the privilege of tucking them in, every night, or reading a bedtime story to them, every night? How do you work through that? And so you have a couple choices. And for me, I looked at that and I thought, okay, I have a couple options, right? I can either really dive into this hole of sadness and grief that my life has changed, that the situation for my children has changed, or I can do something differently with this. And what does this really mean? And what I realized was that maybe I was getting my time back that I had given to so many other people for so long. And so now the time that I was having the freedom with the nights alone, or the evenings alone, the dinners alone, was really the universe, if you will, whatever your faith, is, giving me my time back, because I had spent so many years giving freely to other people, to other organizations. And now here was all this time and I didn't know what to do with it.
Right.
But not knowing what to do with it is where I found myself, okay, what does Corey need? What does Corey want to do, or can Corey do for Corey that would make Corey feel beautiful, respected, loved? Right?
I totally agree. Yeah. I mean, honoring yourself just as much as you would honor, people that you love and you care about the most.
Yeah.
So many people don't put themselves on that list of priorities. And I really love the fact that you actually took the time to update your information. You updated your story, right? Like you sat back and you took a look at your current situation and you were like, what does this mean for me now? And who have I become as a result of what I've gone through? Because you can see some people, right? They're still, there's still that 7-year-old person, right? Little child that has gone through the trauma, right? They're still wearing their scars and they're still wearing, the meaning of what happened to them back then.
Yeah.
Right? But they have not updated their information. They've not updated their identity and what their story means about them now.
Yeah.
Right?
And I love the part where you talk about awareness. It's such a huge thing. When you're not aware of the emotions of what you're going through, it's just gonna swipe you right out, right? But when you're aware of knowing, okay, these are the things, these are the traumas, these are the red flags of the things I'm not supposed to follow. So that's beautiful, being aware of it. So tell us, if you could sit across, the one woman who needs your story the most right now, who is she and what is she going through? And what would you want her to hear from you today?
Hi, I'm Cynthia Day.
And I'm Anna Cantu, and we are Day and Cantu Luxury Homes here with eXp Luxury.
And we help families create abundance through the love and the harmony of home.
We are luxury real estate professionals here in Southlake and the surrounding areas.
So give us a call when you're ready to transition to your next level of luxury.
That's a great question, and a very powerful question as well. I'd say that there's really, two women, because they could be, very different from one another. One that I've seen quite a bit of is the woman who is on the way out of a marriage, on the way out of a long-standing union that really has been at the foundation of her life. And just to give like an example, this would be like a woman who has been married for 20 plus years. And all of a sudden her husband or her partner says, you know, I'm not really in this anymore, or I'm not really in love with you anymore, or my interests have changed and I need to go my separate way. And their children, you know, are grown out of the home. And ultimately this is a woman who thought that this is an individual that she was going to spend the rest of her life with. And now she's working through that, right? How is this person that I've built my life around, has been the nucleus of our family, the nucleus of our life together, and I've self-sacrificed willingly, maybe sometimes unwillingly, my own desires, my interests, my dreams for half of my life, if you will. And now this individual has chosen to exit stage left, right? Or now is going on a different life path, either peacefully or not peacefully. And that is one woman that I have certainly worked with, met with, consulted with. And the one thing that, you know, I'll say, you know, just to kind of lead off is, consider it as maybe this is an opportunity for you to find you. Maybe this is a restart. And now is the time that it was divinely meant for you to pursue your passions. And don't beat yourself up about the commitments and the sacrifices and the compromises that you made to bring you to where you are right now, because there is a purpose and a reason behind where you are right now. But reach down deep within your soul and realize that you have purpose. God did not create you. You know, the divine did not create you to not have a purpose in this life.
And you certainly did not go through what you went through for no reason at all.
Absolutely. And wealth, and you know, and I speak about this too, wealth is not just trinkets and toys. Wealth is making an impact and educating and leaving an imprint on each and every one of us. That is ultimately the highest form of wealth. So perhaps the circumstances of the journey that you've been on is positioning you in a place of making an impact. And dive into that. Dive into that and explore it. Because maybe that passion that you had before you became a mother, before you became a wife, before you started this adventure, you know, and lived in 4 or 5 different states because you were supporting your spouse. Go back to the woman that you were, that you still are, because she never left you. She's still there.
Pull your inner child.
And talk with her. What did you say you wanted to do again? Yeah. How do you think we can do this? Ask the how. Ask the how question.
Right.
Ask the what question.
It's not should we, it's how.
Yes, because, and ask the why too. Why? Ask the why and the how and the what. And I guarantee you, if you ask a lot of whys and the whats more than you ask the hows are going to figure themselves out. They're going to show up. The how is going to show up. Trust me. Been there, living it. The how is going to show up, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I had this conversation with myself. And I would also suggest too that if you feel that you can't navigate this alone, that I, applaud you for reaching out to someone who can help you extract that data, extract those passions, find that part of you that has been suppressed for so long, and that individual that you work with can help pull that out, right? Can help you ask yourself the question, have the conversations, right, to pull it out. The second woman because again, I said, there's really like two. The second woman would be the young woman who is like coming out of school, right? Has her education, or perhaps, didn't do a formal education, but has a fire in her belly, right? Something inside of her says, I am meant to do something. I'm meant to leave a mark. I'm ready to be a disruptor. I am ready to change the game. That woman needs, to look within herself and really say, okay, am I ready for this? Am I ready for this? Okay. What is it? Again, what is it that I want to do? Why do I want to do it? And then start aligning yourself with the people who've already done it. And if they haven't done it, they've done something similar to it.
Right.
So,
several things that I've really, enjoyed learning about you is, number one, you are constantly developing a relationship with yourself, which is something really, really big that a lot of women don't do, right? We're never taught to do that. You are definitely on your list of priorities to, love and honor you just as hard as you love and honor the people in your life, right?
yes.
And another really key thing that I've really noticed is how you help someone see the pain and the tragedy as a new meaning. As a new opportunity. That is so big, because when everyone is looking at change like it's devastating, like it's the end of the world, like this is what was familiar, this is what I always know, instead of looking at it like it is a new opportunity. Like we said, flip the coin. Is it heads Carolina or is it tails California?
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, just having your guidance and gentle reminder of a mindset shift, just a total disruption in how they're currently looking at their situation.
Yeah. I think if we look at, women or women, it's interchangeable, right? That have made an impact, have made a difference in other people's lives and in their journeys. They all have a story. And the women that we're speaking out to today, you all have a story. Every single one of you has a story. And you may think your story is boring. You may think your story is mediocre. But I can assure you that the story that you have, that you're meant to tell, is not mediocre. It's not boring. And again, there is really something greater beyond us all that moves us and positions us in certain ways. And even if you, on your own accord, made some of the decisions that placed you in positions that were not beneficial to your mental health, not beneficial to your physical health, even if you know, hey, I've got to reflect and maybe take some accountability. There's nothing wrong with taking accountability. As a matter of fact, accountability can sometimes be your greatest advocate.
I totally agree with you.
So there's nothing wrong with taking accountability.
And asking yourself another important question: how did I contribute to my situation?
Yeah.
Instead of remaining a victim to the tragedy of what happened, it's like, what did I allow for so many years?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
Well, that just, kind of segues perfectly into, what are the next steps that, these women that raised their hand, that totally identified, with this type of situation that they're at this phase in their life, right? Like, what can they do today to start transforming their lives, and how can they connect with us in order to keep this momentum going?
Sure. So for me, I have my website, my primary website, which is womenshares.com. And that's a great way to connect with me. All of my socials are there as well. You can email me directly from the website. I actually have a money mindset journal that's up, available for purchase on my website. That is version 1 of some tools that I'm creating for women. to help you really like hone in on your relationship with money, your relationship with yourself, and how that's kind of impacting your decisions, where you are now, where you've been, and where you're headed. So there's, those tools available. I also have reading lists that are available because I have links where I kind of share my favorite books, good reads that I've read. There's a couple, books out there that have really been a game changer for me in terms of mindset.
One? Yeah, what's a big one for mindset that you would always just recommend off the top of your head?
There's one book in particular that it's kind of ironic. It wasn't a book that I chose myself. Mm-hmm. It was a book that I was required to read. We all love those, right? I was required to read it for a firm that I was working with, and it was actually before I became a mother. So this is like when I was, just really hustling and, doing anything and everything I could, to build my practice, get clients and grow myself. And it's called Mindset.
Really?
Yes. And it's written, I know, by one PhD, but if you go on Amazon, you could probably, put in Mindset. I have it listed in my reading list, but it's just a fabulous book. And it's not only great in helping you professionally, but personally, it really gave me a lot of perspective and really assisted me in asking the questions that I would have never known to ask myself. And then later, I actually went back and reread some sections of the book because I remembered that there were sections of the book that would be applicable to parenting. And I extracted those pieces, and then later, and now I try to keep that in the back of my head in terms of parenting, some of the things and some of the passages that were in that book. So that's definitely one.
So the book of mindset, guys, that's what you're going to be on the lookout.
Yes,
and it's beautiful because it's a choice, right? When you're aware, you choose to be happy, you choose to wake up and do the things that you are meant to do. Mm-hmm. And just like you said, like sharing your story, I was meant to be Corey, the Corey that I am today.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there's not a moment, and I'm going to say this too, like give yourself grace. Mm-hmm. This journey, this evolution.
What is that? What does that mean?
Right? I know. We're so good at giving grace to other people, right? And our children and everything. But, we still are children of learning. We still are. We are still learning and navigating this body that we're within and the world around us. We're still very much navigating areas of our life with new eyes, with a fresh set of eyes. And so give yourself grace for some of the choices that you've made, the elections that you've made, and give yourself grace and patience with navigating where you are right now, being present where you are right now, and perhaps not knowing where you're going to be in a year or where you're going to be in 2 months, much less 5 years, right? I think sometimes we get asked this question, I know they do it a lot in corporate. They'll say, well, where do you want to be in 5 years? Wow, right? Yes, time, is not, accounted for by anybody except the clock. But I think, to put that pressure on you, oh, well, I have to be here in 5 years, or I want to be here in 3 years. That's a lot. Just take one day at a time and then ask yourself, like, where would I like to be in 2 months? Like, what would I like my body to be? How would I like my health to be? Where do I want to be professionally? Where do I want to be in my relationships? And then write it down. Mm-hmm. There's significant studies, at MIT, Harvard, all over the place, with writing it down. Mm-hmm. So get yourself a notebook and just specifically dedicate that notebook to writing down where you want to be. What does the future you look like? And
I know you had a quote that you wanted to leave us with.
Yes.
I'm going to bring that out.
So my daughter is a competitive rhythmic gymnast, and last night she was watching America's Sweetheart, which you all may know. It's a hot series on Netflix of the journey of the DCC, the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleader Program. And there was a pastor that was speaking in Dallas, and the cheerleaders were asked to come and listen to him. And this is what he said. He said, "Vision is what you see when your eyes are closed. Vision is when frustration with what is creates passion with what could be." And that really just hit me. And so I asked her to rewind it so that I could write it down, because I felt like I was meant to share that today. So again, vision is what you see when your eyes are closed. So before you write down where you want to be in 2 months, just use that as your benchmark. Where do you want to be in 2 months? Who are you in 2 months? Close your eyes, because everything around you is temporary. Always is, always will be temporary. Close your eyes and go to the place of where you see yourself. What are you doing? What do you look like? Who is around you? How do you feel? Hopefully you feel amazing.
Right? That's the only thing to
Love
create
that.
and manifest.
Yeah.
I mean, life is all about becoming.
Yes.
You spend a consistent amount of time being present with yourself and becoming, because change is truly an inside out kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's all temporary. So at any time, if you are ready to push the reset button, at any time, if you're ready to open the door and walk through the door to leave what's no longer serving your highest good, if any time you're ready to go introduce yourself to someone that you've never met, but you know they are just crushing it, like they're doing an amazing job, amazing things, and you never in a million years thought that you could approach them, but now all of a sudden you might just do it. Do it, because everything is temporary, and time waits for no one. It waits for no one.
I love that.
Love, 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 love. Well, Corey, thank you so much for being with us at Empower Her. We love the fact that you shared your story, and we can't wait to hear more, of what the future holds.
Yes. So
Thank you both.
yeah, thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for watching another episode of EmpowHER. We're here to make sure that women like you get the support and the tools and the real talk that you need to have it all.
So until next time.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Day.
And I'm Anna Cantu, and we are Day & Cantu Luxury Homes here with eXp Luxury.
And we help families create abundance through the love and the harmony of home.
We are luxury real estate professionals here in Southlake and the surrounding areas.
So give us a call when you're ready to transition to your next level of luxury.